Welcome to the call today. Just to reiterate again, the purpose of this call is typically, I dive in and lead. Jamie will lead from time to time the topic, but most of the time it falls to me, and that's okay. As everyone knows, I love to talk, and this is one of my strengths. So I thoroughly enjoy doing this and sharing these ideas with you. And also, sorry, I'm just trying to reorganize my windows so I don't have things blocked. The other thing to do to let you know is right now, currently, we're kind of in a phase for the last few months where we've invited people to join us. So this has kind of been an open call, if you will. It won't always be that way. Prior to this, it was client only. We've opened it up a little bit. So the first portion of this call, this presentation, this topic is live and also is available for replay for those who wish to watch it to the public. And then we will transition into our client only call. So you'll also notice as we go through things, and let me, as a matter of fact, just kind of move my slides a little bit here so this makes sense to you, is we're always going to be talking about something within the context of the upscale method. So this is really going to help you get a perspective on what we do and how it all works. So that's where that falls. And if you're a client, you could be anywhere on here. You could be at the very beginning, at the very end, or right in the middle. Don't panic. If we happen to hit it right and the topic's right on for you at that moment in time when you're progressing through the upscale method, that's great. If it's in the distant future, don't worry about it. You're going to come across this will just plant the seeds and get things going for you. And of course, if you've already done a topic that we're talking about, then this will be great review for you as well. So today we're going to talk about this concept of feast and famine. It's a roller coaster. And we know that the vast majority of coaches are on this roller coaster. So we're going to discover together why maybe this is one of the key elements. And we certainly find that it is that putting tactics before strategy is one of the reasons that people are on this roller coaster. It's like putting the cart before the horse. And we're going to show you how a sound business strategy is the only way, the only pathway to move your business forward. It's the only way to get that cart behind the horse and get your horses aligned. So although I'm going to be talking a lot about strategy and how that works and vision and things like that, which is really a lot of that is in phase one of our program. Really today, we're talking about the entire upscale method. This really captures it all. So tune in with me for the next, say, 20 minutes. There you go. I'm going to set a goal for myself. Let's see if I can do it. I'm already 5 minutes in. So Jamie's laughing. She's going, yeah, right, Mark. So today, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to cover the difference between strategy and tactic, strategy and tactics, how and why those who struggle are putting the cart before the horse and what you can do differently to get things realigned. And understanding how to get your horses in front of your cart, and I use the word horses, that's not a typo, so you can get where you want to go in the fastest, most direct, easiest way possible. Sound like a good objective? I think it is. And let me tell you why I think it's important, because not understanding these essential elements, these foundational elements for creating a business, will keep you stuck in a never-ending cycle of feast and famine. And the sad reality is you may never cycle at all. You might remain in famine forever if you don't get this right. So that's a pretty serious claim, but let's see if I can prove that out to you. The second reason I think this is really important is aligning these essential elements can provide you a tremendous amount of relief and actually give you motivation. It'll be part of your fuel to keep you going and also to have you want to do this day in and day out. And lastly, putting things in their proper place will also save you time, money, and energy. So it's efficiency that we're talking about too. So let's talk a little bit about a little bribe here. As always, towards the end of the call, we're going to give you a little gift for sticking around. One, it's going to be relevant to the topic, so it's going to help you put this into play. And also, it's going to help you basically put this into context in your own business too. So stick around for that. I'm not going to tell you what it is until we get there. So that's my little bribe for you. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you are confused or may have been confused, or maybe you're still confused and you're wondering, perhaps you're even a little nervous about the right way to say to do social media or advertising or web design or any of the ever never ending things that you see piling up that seem to require your attention to build a business in the virtual world. Type yes if that's you. Whoop, I've lost my mouse here. Type yes if you can identify with that. Yes, Jamie's giving me a nod.
Yep.
My visual cues here. Thank you, Jamie.
Yes.
So know this, you're not alone. This is a universal problem, and it's a universal pain point. It's a universal complaint that we get over and over and over again. It in fact, I would say 99% of the reason that people are stuck is because they're stressing over this particular question. And let me see if I can shed some light onto why this may be causing you stress and other stress. And more importantly, let's see if we can actually put a big light on that and make that stress vanish. That's my goal here, is to make that stress just disappear. But I'm going to agitate that wound a little bit more. So what are some examples of tactics? And I'm going to take just one in particular. Anybody who's seen the presentation we did a while ago on this will get this concept. But I'm going to take just one tactic, and then I'm going to break that out for you. So the tactic could be content marketing. A lot of people say, oh, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to do with this one tactic. And they have no reason other than they saw it somewhere and they thought it was a good idea. But let's break that out. Content activities, using content marketing as a tactic might mean writing articles, putting out products, putting out ebooks and physical books, might be creating audio and video and software and content pages that'll drive SEO and graphics and free reports and e-courses and e-zines and bonuses and blog posts and podcasts. And I could go on and on and on. You get the idea. This is just one tactic. And this is just a small list, by no means exhaustive, of a few of the tactics that could be involved in building an online presence and building your business in the virtual world. So is it any wonder that you're overwhelmed and fearful and frightened when you look at all of this? I know the first time I saw this, it scared the crap out of me. So let's see if we can uncover, why is that uncomfortable? And I want to present for you and give you a different way of looking at things. And I'm going to provide you a little relief right now. It's not doing everything that's on this slide. More is not the solution to too much. So let's understand some elements here. Business begins, and having a successful business begins by having a good understanding of the essential components of business, and then the order in which they fall. And it begins with an understanding of first strategy and then tactics. And a strategy is a long-term plan of action. And it's a long-term plan of action that's designed to help you achieve a particular goal or objective. In our case, as solopreneurs, and as most businesses that are running effectively, it's your vision. What is that vision? What's that overall aim, that underlying thing? This involves identifying the overall direction and scope of your business, and then allocating resources to pursue that direction. A strategy typically involves analyzing your strengths and weaknesses, identifying opportunities and threats, looking at your roles and what you need to be doing and what you don't need to be doing, and then developing a plan of action to achieve specific objectives. Now, I know this all sounds very academic and heady, but we're going to pull all this together for you. Now, on the other side of the equation, on the other hand, if you will, is tactics. Now, a tactic is an action or a task that's undertaken to achieve a specific goal within the context of the larger strategy. Tactics are typically focused on executing the details of a plan, and they often involve specific actions or steps to be taken to achieve that goal. Those of you who have gone through, those of you who know, worked with us on your steps and how to create your action plan, you know exactly what I'm talking about here, what we're trying to hit home on. Tactics can vary depending on the situation and the resources available, and are often revised or updated as circumstances change. So to summarize these two together, a strategy is a long-term plan that outlines the direction and scope of your organization, or your business, if you will, while a tactic is a short-term action or decision that is taken to achieve a specific goal within the context of that larger strategy. All very academic, I know. But I want to try and get you to thinking this way, thinking strategically. A clear vision leads to the development of a sound strategy, which in turn leads you to choose and implement tactics that fit that strategy, and tactics that have the highest probability of fulfilling what you want to do, fulfilling on the strategy, making the strategy work, and getting your vision into life, bringing it to reality. This is what it's all about. Now, what happens, though, is most people want to skip this stuff because it's too academic. They think, oh, I don't need any of that stuff. Show me the money. And then give me a tactic so that I can make more money. It doesn't work that way. Business does not work that way. And if you want to be successful at bringing your vision to life, you need to create a business. So very quickly here, this is more on strategy to ingrain this in. Strategy defines the what and the why. Strategy is the intent of what you're doing, the intent of your vision. It determines what needs to be done and why by questioning its effectiveness. It involves intentional and focused high-level thinking. Again, something people want to avoid. Everybody wants the quick fix, right? The magic pill, the secret answer. I'm going to just bang through these really quick. It's aligned with the goals and objectives of your broad vision, what you want to achieve. It requires focus on defining the future. It is difficult to change, though that is possible. It needs outward, external looking perspective into competition, into market conditions, into what's going on, into your avatar, your audience. It's typically formed by you, by the leader of the organization. Its primary focus is on effectiveness, doing the right thing. It's difficult to measure and evaluate. Strategic planning does not include any execution. Strategy is intangible. There was a book written many years ago called The Effective Executive. It's in every business school and every MBA program. It was written by Peter Drucker, famous management guru. And he said, the first practice is to ask what needs to be done. Note that the question is not what do I want to do, but asking what has to be done and taking that question seriously. It's critical for success. And failure to ask this question will render even the ablest individual ineffectual. So I just want to focus in on that for just a second here. It focuses not on what do I want to do. See, this is part of business. And we talk about this in some of our stuff, is that what needs to be done and then who is best to do it. This is where a lot of people get into trouble because they don't have a strategy. So they think that they need to DIY everything. They think they need to be an expert in everything. Show me any successful, ambitious project in the world where anybody has done 100% of it. No one has. It's impossible. We have to break it out and realize what our strengths are and what our best position is within the implementation of a strategy and bringing it to life. Tactics, on the other hand, now we get into the definition of how and when. Tactics are putting that intent into action. It determines how it must be done by focusing on efficiency. Again, I'm going to come back to what I just said. Efficiency means picking the right person who has the best skill to get it done in the quickest, fastest way possible. We talked about this last week in terms of money, in terms of numbers, right? If my time as a coach or consultant is worth $500 an hour, why on earth would I be doing $9 an hour tasks? That's not efficient. Doesn't make sense. It involves concrete actions and steps to implement, and that's in line with the direction that you're taking, in line with your strategy. It's aligned with the strategy. It requires day-to-day execution directed towards a specific strategy. Yes, day-to-day, boring, routine. It's very easy to change, which offers a lot of flexibility in determining the steps to make the strategy successful. And this is why we talk about testing. This is why we get a tactic, we put it into play, and we say, did it work? Let's test it. If it didn't, don't get all hung up on the tactic. Don't beat yourself up over the tactic. Test another tactic and see if it works better. It needs an inward view that can be executed with the resources that you have available to you in your organization, you as an individual. Sometimes you need to go get more resources. Sometimes you need to do some research around this. We are a resource, a huge resource to you. Pull upon it, leverage it. Milk JB and I for all we're worth. Its primary focus is on efficiency, doing it right with less resources. It's easy to evaluate through well-defined metrics. In fact, it's critical to evaluate through metrics. Tactical plans include timelines and implementation details, when and where they will be applied. Tactics are tangible. We can touch them, feel them, measure them. And again, Peter Drucker says this in The Effective Executive, the book. Converting a decision into action requires answering several distinct questions. Who has to know of this decision? What action has to be taken? Who is to take it? And what does the action have to be so that the people who have to do it, can actually do it? The first and the last of these two are often overlooked with dire results. Critical to understand these concepts. I know they're not what you signed up for, but let me suggest this, that in order to get what you want, you have to start thinking like a business owner, like a manager, like an effective executive. You have to start thinking in these ways if you're going to create a business that works. Otherwise, you're just trying to create a job. And that's the key to failure. That's why most people struggle. So let's pull this all together. It's a great little graphic here. Your vision is your purpose, if you will, your reason for being and doing. Strategy is your overall long-term plan to bring it to life. And your strategy then defines the rules of engagement. You've chosen, let me give you an example. One of your strategies for getting what you want, and I'm going to give you another example in a minute, out of life, is becoming a coach. Is building a coaching business. And there's layers to that vision and the reason you've chosen coaching as the business you want to create. Tactics are the specific action steps you're going to take within the context of this strategy. And your tactics are bound by your rules of engagement. They have to fit together. Get these working in harmony and you will get the outcomes your vision is all about, guaranteed. Of course, these outcomes have to be specific. They have to be measurable. If they aren't, how else will you know when you get there? How will you even know if things are working? This is the reason you will find that we hit home so much on the beginning on this clarity component of laying this foundation. If you don't know where you're going, you're not going to know when you get there. It's the reason that when you speak to me, you'll often hear me asking, what do you want? And then when you tell me what you want, I'll have you get more specific with it. Because what am I after? I'm after a metric. I'm saying, how are you going to measure that? So let's look at a broad example of this. Let's say you arrive in a new land, and your vision is to completely understand the lay of this new land that you're now upon. You truly want to grasp where you are in this place. You're in the jungle, if you will. Now, your strategy might be, I need to get up high. If my vision is to understand where I am, I got to get up high so I can see where I am. And part of that could be to climb a mountain. And one key component of your strategy might even be a specific mountain. You might look around and see different mountains, say, that looks like one that's high enough, higher than these other ones, that will get me the best possible vision. Maybe it's not even the highest mountain, but it's in the right place. This could be a component of your strategy. And part of your strategy might even be where you're going to climb the mountain, which side of it maybe you're going to climb. So that's your strategy in order to achieve your vision. I've used this example specifically because we're talking about vision, what we can see, right? So if that's our strategy, is to climb this mountain, this specific mountain in this particular place, then the tactics would be, how are we going to climb the mountain? What kind of gear are we going to need? Maybe we decided speed is essential, but it's very steep, and we're going to need some what do they call them, crampons for your feet, and those things that you nail into the rock, and rope and stuff like that. Maybe you're going to need that. These are tactics that are going to allow you to get up that mountain? What gear would you need? Who would you bring with you? Maybe you need a guide. Maybe you need a professional. Maybe you're not a mountain climber and you need to bring a mountain climber with you. What's your plan? Have you scouted out? Have you looked at the lay of the mountain and to see, oh, we're going to take this route. What's our plan to get to the top? How long will it take? Specific metric, right? Let's see. How long will it take to get here and here and here and here? And how are we going to get here? What's the best season maybe to climb the mountain? Maybe we need to wait until the snow melts so we can get there faster and easier and safer. These are all tactics that fall into that. So I hope that simple example gives you some insights into, and you can parallel that to your business, right? And lay that down. So let's begin at the beginning. Do you have a clearly defined vision? And have you made a commitment to bring it to life? A vision for your life, your lifestyle, what you're trying to achieve here, and then a vision for the business, which is going to get you there. These are really, really important and critical things to be thinking about, because this is your fuel. This is what gives you the desire and that burning desire to move forward. And it allows you to turn on your computer or get to work first thing in the morning, because your vision is what you're all about. That's the fuel that's driving you to implement. Your strategy is giving you direction, and your tactics are what you do or what you get done. So type yes. I know this is a big question, but type yes for me if you've done that, if you're clearly defined in what this is all going to do for you and committed to bringing it together. In other words, commitment means a whatever it takes attitude. Go ahead and chat, and go ahead and tell me what you're thinking. If it's a no, that's okay too, because we'll get you there. Jamie, are we getting yeses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give them a second to do that. But I also feel like, relating it to kind of the tactics that we see a lot when we kind of consult with people. It's like they're posting on social media. Leslie's asking, how specific is the vision? So I want to pose that to you. And I also want to come back to what I was just saying. Do you want me to hang on that for a sec while you answer, Leslie?
Yeah, no, go ahead. And I'll circle
Okay.
back, because it's a great question,
Okay.
Leslie. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to say about, people thinking they need to be everywhere, posting on social media. Like, so coming back to the beginning of this conversation around that, like, those are all the tactics. You don't even know that your people are really in those places to begin with if you don't have the clear strategy.
Right.
So, and the vision to start it all, to kick it off with. So
Exactly.
I think relating it back to kind of the tactical work of trying to, market your coaching business and just kind of trying different things. And what Mark is saying and what we're learning here is really all about, if you don't have the strategy and the vision first, all the tactics in the world really aren't going to get you there anyway.
Yes.
So, okay.
And let me, great point. And you stimulate another thought for me, Jamie, about the way you just described that is, and I want to come back to the why. Why do people do that? What's the rationale? What are they thinking? And here's what it's rooted in. It's rooted in, most people think, I'm going to be a coach. And that journey in their mind typically immediately relates to creating a job. So it begins with, I want to make money. I want to make money. I hate what I'm doing. I don't like my boss. I don't like what I'm being told to do. I don't like having a commute to work, whatever those things happen to be. And I'm going to make money doing something else. So I'll become a coach. And then what they do is they try and recreate that as a job. So in order to have what I want, the outcome being money, I'm going to do what? Be a coach. And because of that, they get stuck. Because it's from that position that lacks vision and strategy where they get stuck. Instead of saying, wait a minute, in order to get all these things done, I want to create a business. And maybe part of that work that they want to do, part of the outcome they want is affirmation, is feeling good about helping others. That could be part of that outcome that they're looking for. I want to get paid. I want to work at home. I want to dictate my own hours. I want to feel good about what I'm doing. I want to help others. I want people to pat me on the back. I want to get testimonials, all of those things to fill me up. And if that's my purpose, then where I totally go off the rails is when I go back and say, okay, now what do I need to do to make that happen? And I dive right into tactics. Right? I dive into, well, somebody said I need to be all over the map and be on every social media platform that's out there. So I'm going to start being a social media guru, and I'm going to be an influencer. I'm going to be everywhere and everywhere. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So we need to flip that around and come at it from the other angle. So what I'm talking about here is it's the having, doing, being model. Most people go through that. I want to have more money, or whatever it happens to be. Usually it's based on money, or I want more things, so I need more money in order to have what I want. Tell me what to do, and then I'll become the person that I need to be. Doesn't work. You'll always run into roadblocks that way. You'll never get there. So what we're talking about when we think strategically, is we flip that around. We go, what do I need to be? Well, I want to be a business owner in order to enjoy all those things that come with being a business owner. What do I need to do? What's my strategy, and what are the tactics that fit in that strategy in order to have the outcomes that come from being a business owner? Hope that makes sense. But it's getting out of this mindset of work, of creating work for yourself, and instead getting into the mindset of creating something, which is a vision. A vision. What is the vision for your life? Let's answer Leslie's question briefly, and then we'll come back to it too in the Q&A. So how important is it to have the details and have it? It's critically important that you are clear on your vision. Now, I'm not going to say that, and this is again where we have to get out of that mindset that we've been taught, and it's been pounded into us from grade school and from our parents and everything else, that we have to get it right, because there is no right. We want to pull all the value judgment out of this. Your vision is how would your life work? What do you want your life to be like? And then what business fits into that? So if we don't know that, then we need to spend some time thinking about it. And also realize that it's never ending. So there's no right answer. It's always in evolution, just like our businesses are always in evolution. We can have a sense of where we want to go. So let me see if I can put this into another metaphor, is that my vision might be to climb a mountain. Well, I need to pick a mountain. That needs to be part of my vision. I can't just go, well, I want to pick a mountain, because I'll just sit there. I'll never be able to move forward if I don't know what mountain I'm going to be climbing. Is it Everest, or is it Mount Doug in my neighborhood here? What is it? Because I can't even take one step forward until I know what mountain I'm climbing. So I hope that helps a little. You've got to you got to own it, and you've got to push those voices aside and realize that it's you. This is your choice. This is one of the toughest concepts that people don't even get. They don't even consider when it goes into business, is this is all your choice. There's no shoulds. There's no musts. There's no oughts. It's all up to you to choose. And I realize there's fear in that. There's discomfort in choosing. But choosing what you want is critical. It's the only way you're going to get it. And then moving into that space. And then as you start to climb, then you realize, oh, I need to change my path. I need to do this a little differently. Maybe my reasons for going there. I'm a fan of Survivor. Always have been from day one. It's a little hokey sometimes and everything. But I'm a fan of any show that's about human behavior and growth and watching people change. And I love every time, without a doubt, you never ever hear somebody at the end go, I was here for the money and I'm pissed that I didn't win it. Or I was here for the money and I won it and I'm a millionaire now. I'm so happy. They never say that. What do they always say? They always say they got more out of the experience than they ever thought imaginable. They learned things about themselves. All of these things they didn't even realize were going to happen for them. So it was the experience of the experience. And most of them too will say their vision when they came was just being there. And the $1 million is a good little carrot at the end, but the experience of being there is their objective, is the experience of experiencing the experience. And that's what living life and having a vision and building a business is all about. So let's put this into context here, if I can do this in the right way and make sense. And let's pull this together here. So this is really what the upscale method is all about. We want you to get very clear on your vision, very clear on your vision. And then, and obviously we're going to help you with this. And we give you the tools to do that. We're happy to discuss this with you and help you hone that in, and realize that your vision at the very beginning is going to be, and Leslie, maybe this will answer your question too. It's going to be a little blurry. It's kind of like looking at Everest from 100 miles away. You know, you're going to climb Everest, but you can't see all the subtleties and the nuances. You can't even see base camp or even filter out and figure out what the pathway is, but you know the mountain's there. And then you're going to hunker down, and your strategy is going to be getting to base camp, right? You're going to look at those event horizons as you move forward. So this is the idea of the beginning of our upscale method, is we want to help you get really clear on these things so that you know where you're going. And then we'll start to put things together as we go. What's that next step? Well, now we start to implement. We start to select tactics that we believe have the best probability of making that strategy work. And we teach you how to implement those. And we teach you how to do it consistently, and how to test them, and how to measure them, and then how to revise them if they need to be revised, and then how to implement them all over again, and test them all over again, and measure them all over again. It's a continuous cycle of incremental improvement. And then lastly, we get through to the kind of the outcomes, if you will, as we transition into this final stage, is that we're going to look at the outcome, the results of your vision. The results of your vision for creating a coaching business are having clients, are doing what you do best. This is the path that we're on. But if we don't have these other things in place first, we're never going to get there. We can't have the clients and then figure out what we need to do and then figure out who we want to be. It doesn't work that way. We have to choose to be excellent at something, choose our path, choose to really release our uniqueness and our potential in order to know what the strategy is going to be, and to discover the strategy and the tactics along the way. So it actually makes choosing the tactics very easy. Because now when you get your strategy and you know who you're reaching and what you want to say to them and how you want to help them, then it's very easy to go, oh, well, this is going to be the best vehicle for me to get to that end in mind, to get that result, if you will. So I've covered a lot. And I know this was heady stuff today, but it's so, so important. So let me ask you, what are your takeaways from this? Go ahead and participate in the chat with us and let us know. I've covered a lot. There's a lot in here, a lot of meat in here. And understand that it's okay if this is just, if your brain's hurting. You know, developing these concepts and these skills and this understanding, it takes a lot more thought. It takes teaching and learning and practice. You know, to master anything takes months, if not years. Who is the author? Oh, his name escapes me right now, but the author that talked about 10,000 hours to be a master at anything.
Yeah, I can't think of the author either, but I know that concept in the book.
He's a Canadian.
Yeah.
He writes for the New Yorker or something. Yeah. Anyhow, you know who I mean. What the Dog Saw, all those books.
Yeah.
So give me some feedback here. What did you
Yep.
get from today's?
Oh, it's Malcolm Gladwell. Thank you.
Malcolm Gladwell. Thank you. Thank you. Did somebody
Yes.
put that in the chat?
Yep, Sheena did. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sheena.
And Sheena posted vision, and then arrow to strategy, then tactics, then outcome.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. And always checking in, always checking in. That's why, you know, when we have this conversation, we always have this conversation. It comes up all the time. somebody had, one of our clients had a question. Again, we get bombarded with this stuff, right? We get email marketing, we get Facebook, we get stuff coming at us all the time. What are they? Tactics. I can't remember what it was specifically. What was it? Help me, Jamie. It was something just recently.
Was it the website that somebody was designing a website? And your advice was like, you don't have the strategy yet to even put that together. Was that?
That was one of them, but no, there was another
Yeah.
one about somebody had approached them about content. And I'm sorry, forgive me, I've forgotten. But, you know, my question right back was, where does this fit? Give me context. Where does this fit into your strategy? And it wasn't. It was just a shiny object.
Oh, yeah.
Right. How is this going to help you? You know, I think the allure, and this is where be careful, because a lot of marketing is around this. There's this allure that if I just do this magic thing, then all the money will flow in and the clients will flow in. And that's not the case. I can't remember. It was something about social media or something about posting or something like that.
Well, I think we have that conversation regularly, because in my consultations with so many people, that's where they are when I meet them is, you know, well, I'm creating content and I'm posting in all these places. And I say, you know, well, how many clients has that brought you? No, nobody. How many
Right.
consults are you getting? Nothing, you know, and I understand, because I've been in that place myself. So I totally understand. We're walking blindly. We're like, you know, let's just put something out there and like somebody will resonate with it, hopefully somewhere on Facebook world or wherever, you know, and really it doesn't work like that. And so, but that takes a lot of time and energy and even money. I mean, the girl, somebody I spoke with recently this week, I think she was saying how she was paying somebody to do all this posting for her. And I was and that's what I was asking her, you know, well, how much money is that bringing in for you?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's just throwing mud on the wall and hoping something will stick. And the odds are slim to none.
Yeah. And also, you know, you talk about, and, you know, Leslie, I'll kind of come back to your original question about, you know, how specific do you have to be? Well, be specific to start off doesn't mean it can't change. You know, your strategy your vision may change and your strategy will change along with it. And then of course the tactics will follow, but having a goal and a strategy to get to that goal, then you can create the tactics that will bring that about.
Yeah. And you know, a good example, a practical example, something that Jamie and I have looked at is there's a particular thing that we're testing right now. I'm not going to go into detail on it, but we're kind of looking at it. And one of the things that's coming true as we look at it is it's starting to look like a very laborious process. So what do? Is we come back to our original vision, which is, I'm trying to find in my vision here where I said I wanted to work 120 hours a week, and I'm having a hard time finding it. You see, this is how you get sucked in, is somebody, you know, gets you on this path of, oh, you know, you need to be posting to social media. You should be posting to every social media platform out there. And you got to be posting. As a matter of fact, I did a whole webinar on this. You got to be posting like at least 20 times a day on some of them and everything. And if you add all that up, you go, this isn't what I signed up for. But if you don't know what you signed up for, how are you going to know that that's a bad tactic? You won't. You'll just go headlong into it and you'll go rushing along, and then you'll find yourself frustrated and it's not working and you're going, I'm doing everything I hate, everything I don't want to do. Why? Because you didn't get clear on what you wanted. So this is what we mean by vision. And this is why I always say that vision starts not with the business, it starts with you. It starts with your lifestyle. Why are you doing this? Who are you doing it for? Is it for a partner? Is it for your children? Is it for maybe a parent that's ailing or something? What's your rationale behind that? What's going to be your burning desire? What's going to make you go, I really don't feel like it, but this is my grander scheme. This is my bigger purpose, my vision for what I'm trying to create here. Starting there. And it's not, I want to make $1 million. Never is. So any other feedback, Jamie? Any other takeaways? I know this was a hard one.
No, anybody else have a question or comment?
Heady stuff. Okay, let's talk about your gift here. So your gift is a part of thinking strategically. Sheena would know all about this stuff. So this is a SWOT analysis. So this is a really good way to kind of get your brain working and thinking about strategy. And this comes after vision. I want you to constantly think, and I want you to take the pressure off yourself of thinking that this is the teacher's assignment and that you have to get the assignment done and the paper is going to be graded and it's going to be an A. Your vision evolves. It's those things where you wake up in the night and you go, this is what I want. Keep asking yourself every day, get up and go, what do I really, really, really want? Do that and watch your vision unfold and watch it evolve and change. Those of you who are on the call or those who are watching the call who are parents know that your vision of life changes dramatically as you go through the process of being single and then having a partner and having a child and then watching that child grow. Isn't your vision constantly changing? I see Sheena nodding here. It's always changing. It's evolving. But there's core element to your vision that stays. So it's like a building block. It's not like you're randomly jumping all over the place. So your values and how you want to live life and how you want to contribute, those all typically remain stable. And then your vision becomes more grand. It's like painting a picture. And you'll be painting it for the rest of your life. So this is one component. You're going to take that vision and you're going to start to think about strategy. And a SWOT analysis is a great way to begin thinking about strategy. And one of the you'll hear me talk about this a lot too. One of the very most important things that you want to begin with and start to think about are your strengths. What have you got to give? And you've got a lot of them. Everybody on this planet has tremendous strengths, and many of them are unique to you. They're based on your personal history. Sometimes they came from pain and struggle. Often they do.
And I think also like that your strength, speaking about that, when it comes to put aside the strategy for a moment, but the tactics, you will uncover that I've got this strength. That's the tactic that I can take that on. Or that's a tactic I don't want nothing to do with it, right? So that's also in your strategy of how you're building your business, is recognizing you have strengths in certain areas and you have weaknesses in certain areas, like the SWOT analysis is showing.
Exactly.
And you'll decide on tactics based on that too.
Yeah, and it will drive your tactics. So, for example, if one of your strengths is writing, right, Sheena, an accomplished author and creator, then when it comes to a tactic that's going to help you achieve your vision, writing is going to be something you're going to want to be passionate about. You're going to want to be involved in. Why would you want to outsource that if that's one of the things that you love doing, if that's part of your vision? I want to write for the rest of my life because I love writing. Then why on earth would you hire that out or get rid of that? And this is what a lot of people do. What they end up doing is focusing on doing a bunch of stuff that they hate, that they don't want to do, that they're not passionate about, which forces them into not doing what they are passionate about, what they are good at. And that creates the roller coaster. It creates a vicious cycle. So focus on what you're good at. And if you don't know your strengths, if you haven't identified them yet, then how on earth are you going to analyze a tactic against that? Great point, Jamie. Same as your weaknesses go that way too. If you know that it's just not something you're good at, you say, you know what? I've never been good at writing. I've always, my teachers, right through my life, everybody said, you know what? Don't be a writer. And I never really wanted to be one. I'm not a big fan. I'm a talker. I love to talk. Well, then don't force yourself into being a writer.
Right.
With the internet, it's so easy to find writers. It's so easy to get somebody who is good at that. And
right. So we're not saying you should outsource every single thing, every tactic. Like that's not this conversation. It's finding what you want to be tactically involved in and what you don't, but needs to get done.
Yeah.
And that all relates to your strategy. So
yeah. So can you see the flow here? If I don't know these things, how can I possibly create a plan to bring things into being if I don't know what these strengths are, what these weaknesses are, what the opportunities are? We've got some inkling of these things, by the way, or we wouldn't be where we are. Very few people choose to take this path. So you've got an inkling of all these things. You just haven't had taken the time to sit down and think about them and articulate them and write them down. So this is a really good tool just to kind of get started, because it's just a list of questions and you can start to jot some notes down and journal about these things. And then you'll have ahas down the road. Some things will just be a big question mark for you. You'll go plodding down the road and you'll wake up one day and go, you know what? I don't want to do this. I hate this. This is not fun. And it goes in the weakness column. So for years, business was all about hiring people and then finding out what they were bad at and then throwing a bunch of training at what they were bad at to try and make them good at it. And it failed miserably. This is what Marcus Buckingham's work was all about. But any of you familiar with the Strength Finders work and all of that whole process around it, was turning all that on its head and saying, why don't we just focus on people's strengths and then surround them with people that can complement their strengths by doing with their strengths that overcome their weaknesses. That's how you build a team. That's how you get things done. So we are, and I consider myself finished, Jamie, about 10 minutes ago. I'm going to allow myself to say I was a little long, but we kind of transitioned a bit. So just to wrap up this kind of public portion of the call, though, if you're ready to implement a proven step-by-step method for creating a coaching business that earns you a full-time income, an exceptional full-time income, doing what you love, that's where this hard work is all about, without being stressed, overwhelmed, or simply bogged down doing things that aren't getting you the results that you want, then please book a time. Let's chat. And let's see if we can lay out a game plan to help you clarify your vision, get some strategy, and start to understand where that's all going to go, and stop playing with tactics until you have those things in place. And that's specifically why those of you who are with us know that we take you through the process this way. We've kind of already opened the mic for this, or we've talked about this a little bit. So I'm going to transition now. No, I don't know. As it stands right now, Jamie,
Yep.
I think all we need to do maybe is just turn the recording, stop recording. Actually, Kathy, I think is
Kathy. Yeah.
And so Kathy